Live from the Business RadioX studio inside Renaissance Bank, the bank that specializes in understanding you. It's time for North Fulton Business Radio.
And hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of North Fulton Business Radio. I'm John Ray, and folks, we are broadcasting from Alpharetta, and folks, our studio host is Renaissance Bank, as you well know, and Renaissance just got a significant award. They were ranked in the top 10 banks nationwide in a survey of all U.S. banks conducted by Forbes magazine. And I think the reason that happened was they're big enough to handle pretty much any need you can throw at them, but small enough to do it in a personal way. And I know this myself from my dealings with them. So go to renaissancebank.com, find their local office, and give them a call. And I think you'll be glad you did. Renaissance Bank, understanding you, member FDIC. Now I want to welcome Cordelia Blake. Cordelia is the executive director of CEO Netweavers. Cordelia, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Let's talk about CEO Netweavers and how you're serving the market out there.
Sure. So CEO Netweavers is a nonprofit community of CEOs and other C-suite executives and sort of equivalent. So in a world where people can create their job title and some people are chief innovation officers and things like that, they're all welcome as well. So our members are current and former C-suite executives who have two things in common. One is most of them hate networking. And so they want to be in a group where, it's about sharing experiences, connecting, developing deeper relationships, really getting to know each other, other kind of people in a similar situation in terms of their careers. And then also they're super duper committed to giving back. And so we have mentorship, different types of mentorship is a big part of our activities, and our members are very involved in that.
Talk about the history of the organization. How long has it been around? Is it located just here in Atlanta or elsewhere? Talk about all those things.
Yeah. So we have two chapters. The chapter that's been around for about 12 years is the Atlanta chapter. Mm-hmm. And it was actually founded by Bob Littell, who wrote a book called Netweaving. I think it's actually called The Art of Netweaving. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how you go into developing business relationships with a pay it forward attitude. And so his book, which I read years ago and used it when I was in a different career, is really about when you meet people, you think about how you can help them. You're not thinking about how they can help you, right? Mm-hmm. So he's one of our founding members. And so the group really started with him and I think one other CEO who felt really kind of isolated, because if you're the leader in your organization, you can't always sort of share your struggles with your colleagues, right? You don't. If you're at the top or near the top, you can't necessarily just always do that. And so they wanted to start a group of people who were in a similar leadership role in their own organizations where they could all connect that way. And then the pay it forward part of it really evolved over time because really, I think one of the reasons people join our community is because they have worked hard to get to where they are, but they've also had a lot of, people help and support them. And so they want to help and support other people in their own development.
Yeah. I mean, the paying it forward is, a lot of groups say this, but with CEO Netweavers, it's really in the DNA of the organization. I mean, from the very beginning, right?
So I'm actually new to the organization in this role. I just started in 2021, towards the end of 2021. And I really come from a background, the organization I used to run was much more focused on everybody figuring out new ways to make money. And they were also happy to help each other, but it was very focused on that. So I really came in here expecting something similar. So I started creating events around connecting and networking and net weaving and just, and our members, they do some of that, but the things that they love most about our group is these two core mentorship programs we have. One is where we mentor businesses, and it's called Inflection Point. And so a business that's like facing some sort of change or growth, or maybe they got investors or trying to sell or some shift or an inflection point, can get a panel of like 4 to 6 CEOs coaching them for 6 months. It's totally free.
Wow.
Yeah. And they love it. The people that are coaching love it. Our people that have participated as companies have loved it. A lot of them become members, when they achieve their goals. And then we also mentor Georgia State and Kennesaw State in Atlanta and Rice University in Houston, executive MBA students. And then we also have a scholarship program. We have a nonprofit called Sion Foundation, and we raise money and give kids scholarships from the Ron Clark Academy to go to college.
Oh, wow. And
in addition to a scholarship, they get a mentor with their scholarship to really help them navigate, this environment where maybe they're the first person in their family to go to college or something like that. And they can really use not just, being there, but how to really maximize the experience.
Sure.
So it's all about that. The members love that. And so they love that. They love learning. So it's really a group of people that want to be making the world a better place, I would say.
Well, CEOs that are at this level, they have lots of choices about, and lots of inquiries about mentoring and that kind of thing. What attracts them to CEO Netweavers to give their time to that organization?
So part of it is just that we do a lot of the legwork. So they can, let's say they want to mentor an EMBA student or an MBA student. They don't have to talk to the university. They don't have to do anything. They literally just get a name handed to them of somebody. And we even will do some vetting to make sure that it's a good fit in terms of, maybe they're in the energy sector and this person is in the energy sector or something like that. We don't always do that. It sort of depends, but they get that person who already wants a mentor, wants to work at that because there is work involved for the mentee. And then they just get to meet with them once a month and kind of just have the relationship part of it. Whereas if you just decided on your own, hey, I want to mentor somebody, you've got to figure out who to mentor. You've got to make that relationship. And then it can be a barrier. So, and same with our Inflection Point program. We screen the companies that apply. We make sure they're at a point where they're ready to have a panel of 6 CEOs advising them. Not every company is ready for that. If they just need like marketing help, they're not a good fit for our program. So we vet them. And then again, the CEOs can just come in and really dig into the kind of the fun part of volunteering and not so much of the bureaucracy of volunteering. Plus, they really respect and like each other. So some of them really like the panels because they don't just help this company, but they get to learn from each other, and how other CEOs and C-suite people would handle this is very eye-opening for them as well.
Yeah, sure. So what are the membership qualifications or criteria?
So in order to join, we ask that you be a current or former C-suite level executive of a company that has at least $2 million in revenue. And then you could also be like a partner or an owner or principal. There's different titles, different types of organizations, but kind of at that level. And that's really it. So they just have to be current or former. So some of our members, maybe they were CEO of like a really big company and then they sold and now they're doing consulting, but so they still can qualify even though they're not doing that right now. So.
Gotcha.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, and they have to be committed to paying it forward. This is not a group that people join. I mean, they do connect with each other, but if you're in this to hand out your business card and try to hustle, it's not the right group.
Yeah. Those folks are probably going to stand out in a negative way. It sounds like,
yes.
given the nature and the personality of this group. So,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Folks, we're here chatting with Cordelia Blake. Cordelia is the executive director of CEO Netweavers. So you've got the group here in Atlanta. How big is this group?
Right now we have about 60 members. It did suffer a little during COVID, like a lot of associations have.
Sure.
So we're working hard on getting the word out to people kind of in this new reality of the digital connectivity and networking. But yeah, so we have a great group of people. They're incredibly talented leaders that are members. And then we have a smaller chapter in Houston. It's new. It's only been around, I think, for 2 years. And so that one's got around 15 members.
Gotcha. And are the meetings virtual? Are they in person? Are they hybrid? Talk about the meetings and how those run.
Yes.
So, all of the above, huh?
The answer is yes.
Okay.
We have a monthly speaker series. The other thing that distinguishes us is our speakers speak to a very high level. So you're not going to get a super basic intro talk. You know, our speakers know they're speaking to leadership. And so the topics are relevant and interesting. So anyway, yeah, we have a monthly breakfast in Atlanta. Houston's different because they're kind of new. So they're a small enough group. They kind of just figure out what they want to do. We don't have like a big structured program for them.
Gotcha.
But we also have quarterly happy hours. Those are in person. The monthly speaker series is a hybrid event. So we have some people come in person, some people tune in remotely. Our mentoring programs are both. So it really kind of depends on obviously what's going on in the world. And also it depends on the people. And sometimes we have a hybrid, like one of our panels, I think half the advisors were in person and half were remote. And then another one is fully remote. People can kind of choose what works for them.
Got it. So what would surprise a new member most about this organization? I mean, they're coming into it with a pretty heavy messaging about giving back, paying it forward, however you want to term that. But I mean, what are the underlying surprises that you think your organization gives new members that maybe they're not expecting?
You know, I think I can't speak to all of our members, obviously, but I would say one of the things that really surprised me is how much our members really want to learn new things. And so when we have our speakers, they're usually like, people stay for like 45 minutes after asking questions. They're super engaged. And one of our members said, you know, anytime I'm growing as a person, it's helping my business. You know, I need to learn more things. I need to keep developing. And so it's not just sit there and like work on your phone or whatever while you're like sitting in the room, kind of paying lip service or whatever. They're really there to learn and grow. And then I think that, you know, the commitment to helping other people is huge. There's plenty of organizations where you can sort of schmooze with a bunch of successful people and everybody can feel good about themselves, which is totally fine. That's really not who we are. So I think the surprise is, you know, right away we're like, do you want to mentor? You know, how many mentees do you want? And we do have people that don't do it. So they join, they want to support our efforts, but maybe they're having a rough year or they just had a baby or, you know, something like life happens. You can't always give a lot, but they are in this group because they're supporting that type of activity.
Sure. So let's talk about both scholarships. We'll talk about that first. And then company mentorship.
Sure.
Scholarships. What kind of scholarships do you give, and who are what are the basic criteria that gets you in the running for these scholarships?
So our program is in partnership with the Ron Clark Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So the Ron Clark Academy students, the Ron Clark Academy is a nationally known school. It's here in Atlanta. But it only goes through 8th grade. So those students, when they leave, they go to some other high school, and then they go to college wherever they go to college. And so we come in, they can apply for a scholarship at college. And the thing that's really nice about the scholarship, it's not earmarked. So a lot of times when you get a scholarship, it's like a tuition scholarship, or maybe it's for books. But we give the people the money kind of it's free and clear. So like one of our recipients was at Princeton this year from Atlanta and did not have a winter coat that was sufficient for New Jersey winters. Oh, wow. And, so things like that, college, I remember when I went to college, we didn't have a lot of money and all that stuff. It's hard when you're in a school surrounded by super privileged people to just fit in and make sure you can do all the things you can do. One of our recipients said how great it was that he could work. He did still work, but he was able to work less hours so that he could really do more with his time at the university and be more involved in the organizations on campus. And so that's what I love about the scholarship, because I think that having been a student myself who struggled financially, I remember how hard that was to try to connect with these people that came from families that just could write them basically a big fat blank check for everything they wanted. And you had to kind of keep up with that. So we obviously don't pay for keggers and things like that, but we're there to help them with if they need clothes, if they need to just work less hours, or if they need a computer or something like that isn't necessarily part of the designated scholarship funds.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So talk a little bit about what qualifies a company to maybe be mentored in the CEO Netweavers group.
Yeah, we have a program called Inflection Point. And that is for any company. The bare minimum requirement is that you have to have 2 full-time employees. So it's really not designed for like your solopreneurs and your kind of, independent people. It's designed for people building a company. They have to at least be at that point. They can be pre-revenue, but they have to have 2 full-time employees. And then at that point, we have an application, and they have to be facing some kind of challenge where a panel of C-suite executives would be an appropriate solution to their challenge, to their problem. So like I said, if their problem is they just need money for Facebook ads and they need a Facebook ad marketing strategy, then that would not be like a good fit for the program. But if they're like, one of our companies just got their first round of venture funding and they're just trying to figure out how to scale appropriately and make sure they really capitalize on that opportunity, that's a great inflection point fit. Another one of our companies is actually a nonprofit, and they are going from one niche where they serve one group of people to expanding it. So they want to be able to offer a lot more services. So they're facing an inflection point. We've had over 70 companies who've gone through the program. And so there's all different kinds of companies that have gone through.
Wow. And you said you said it before, and I can't remember exactly what you said. You said, is it a 6-month mentorship or what?
Yeah. So it's like a 4-month-ish program. And I say that because we sort of agree to 4 months up front. The panels usually meet once a month. And that's what we kind of put in writing. But I would say that informally, our panelists, they get the email of everyone on their panel. And so if they're facing a challenge that somebody could help them with, they're free to reach out to that person at any point during the month. And a lot of our panels go on past the 4-month, like maybe they'll go to 6 months is kind of standard. And then a lot of those relationships continue past, the program itself, where they might, but the formal part of the program is between 4 and 6 months, kind of depending on the obstacle that the company is facing and on the right solution for them.
So Cordelia, are you looking for, in terms of growth, let's give everyone a sense of what you're looking for. Are you new members? Is it open now for new members? Companies that want to enter this mentorship program? What's open and available, as it were?
Sure. So we're definitely looking for new members. We have a great community and we would like to grow our member community. We can offer more support to people when we have more people to help. And also just our events where we connect with each other. It's always good to have new people and new ideas. So we're definitely open for membership. We do have a space for 1 or 2 more Inflection Point companies this year, 2022. Mm-hmm. So that application is on the website and they can just fill it out and apply. And it's ceonetweavers.org/inflection point. And you can apply for that. So in terms of our mentees with the students, those we usually go through the EMBA programs. So we don't necessarily have people applying to us directly to become a mentee. They're usually enrolled at like Kennesaw State or Georgia State, and then they go through their program there. Mm-hmm. We do occasionally make exceptions if somebody has like a case where they really feel like they could use some mentorship and they don't fit into any of our buckets and they want to reach out to us. We're definitely willing to listen and see if we can help. So yeah, membership. Right now, we also could use sponsors, although we're not really heavily focused on that. Mm-hmm. We do have a good sponsorship group right now of great companies that sponsor us. But if that's something somebody's interested in, it's also something we're willing to discuss.
Cordelia Blake, folks, Executive Director of CEO Netweavers. Cordelia, this has been great. And what a great organization. That has done so much great work over the years, and we're delighted to be able to share your story. So let's get to the most important question, though. For those that want to be in touch on any of what we've talked about, what's the best way to do that?
Well, so our group is called CEO Netweavers, and you can find us on, our website, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We're all over there. Mm-hmm. My name's Cordelia Blake. You can also find me in all of those places. Mm-hmm. So ceonetweavers.org is our website. And, we have a LinkedIn page. So those are probably the 2 easiest places to find us.
Terrific. Cordelia Blake, CEO Netweavers. Cordelia, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Hey, folks, just a quick thought. If you're looking for a different kind of experience in terms of team building, particularly if you're looking for something that doesn't involve the risk of twisted ankles and broken bones, here's a suggestion for you. Call Andrew Traub. He's the executive chef over at A&S Culinary Concepts. Yes, you got that right. A culinary studio that does corporate team building work. Now, they do corporate catering and they do cooking classes and so forth. But their corporate team building events are terrific. And if you want something different that most of your team they're not expecting something like this, then give Andrew a call, 678-336-9196, and he can tell you about what's possible and guide you through that and set you up at their great facility over on Jonesbridge Road in Johns Creek. They do great work there. AS Culinary Concepts is the website. And folks, just another reminder as we close the show, North Fulton Business Radio is available on all the major podcast apps. We would love it if you would share the show. If you've heard something here that's valuable and you think one of your colleagues or a friend would benefit from it, please share the show. That's how we get the word out on the great work that business leaders like Cordelia and others that we've had on the show over the years, the great work that they do. So if you could help us share the show and celebrate the work they do, we would greatly appreciate it. So for my guest, Cordelia Blake, I'm John Ray. Join us next time here on North Fulton Business Radio.